Yeah,
And
someone will be the Renpy.
okay, Liz, we're ready.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Oh, awesome. Yay. How many people saw this?
I did.
Yeah, awesome, awesome. Do you guys know anyone?
One of them is Pikmin. Okay, there's Pikmin. There's someone who's from
Jeez.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you know Vriska. Does anyone know Vriska?
I
recognize the character. I've not read Home.
One person. That's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Oh,
awesome.
hey, it's
Great.
two, maybe. I don't know.
Is that 5 from Zero Escape or is that someone else?
Who? This one?
Is that
Yes.
all the keynotes?
That's Till from Alien Stage.
Fuck.
Oh, I missed that.
Okay, so intro to visual novels. Thank you everyone for coming. This is like our first collab together.
Wait, yeah, what is MMFC? I didn't notice that.
Oh, McMaster Fanfiction Club. You really
Oh, yeah. Well, I wasn't like involved. I never heard the acronym before. That makes sense.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, maybe we should. Okay, that was alright. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So we have our table of contents. We're gonna go over what is a visual novel, how to write a story, how to storyboard, and how to adapt fan fiction into the visual novel form. Okay, so what is a visual novel? So a visual novel is a form of digital interactive fiction. So this includes visual novels that are more story-based versus like visual novels that are adventure-based. And the main point is to explore the stories and the characters. So you may see some titles that you're familiar with. And I actually didn't know this, but like Angel Beats and Clannad, those are like originally fan fiction. Sorry, whoa. Visual novels adapted to anime. And like you also see like a bunch of like dating games, like dating sims. Those are also like pretty much visual novels. Yeah, Danganronpa. Yeah. Like. So typically there's like a diverging story that depends on what the player chooses, and the amount of like branches in the story really varies between visual novels. Some of them don't like have one either. It's just like a one straight story path. And like a lot of these games, you might not see them as visual novels, but they do heavily feature visual novel methods of storytelling. Okay, this also counts. I was thinking about it when I was making this. I was like, the choice, like mobile games with the stupid gems and like their stupid choices, they also count, and that's like pretty cool. Okay, so how do you write a story for a visual novel? So characters, you have to make a list of your major and your minor characters. What are their motivations? What are their personalities? Because all of these traits really influence like how believable your alternate choices and like the way the characters act in those paths. Because if you like write someone to be one way, but then you like give them a dialogue option that makes like absolutely no sense, and now you're like down the evil path, like that's pretty like frustrating to the player. And the environment, you have to know like what are the stakes and how does this environment impact the behavior of the characters, and it has to also be believable. Like in Danganronpa, they're all like trapped in this freaky high school, so it kind of makes sense that they're like a little crazy. Okay, so you want to outline what the story is focusing on. So is it just like one day in one character's POV, or are there multiple character POVs, or is the story actually taking over a longer duration of time, like several days? And you also need to know like where can you realistically put like an interactive branching section so that it makes sense within your story. And also for your endings, do you have like a true ending that you end up like writing your alternate paths based off that one? Or is like every ending its own like thing that is like substantial? Okay, so how to storyboard? Get all of your ideas down in a flowchart. You can use any program you want as long as you have something actually down. Like that is your starting point, and it really helps you like visualize how your story is progressing. And you should also make notes for each major scene, like what are the key like decisions that characters are making, and what are like the plot points and the tensions going on. Okay, so how to storyboard art-wise? So settings, what are the main locations of the story? You may see, like in Doki Doki Literature Club, they kind of reuse the same backgrounds because they are in that setting pretty much every day. And also for the POV of your backgrounds, I don't know if you noticed, but usually the backgrounds are in one point perspective. So there's just like one vanishing dot in the middle of the screen, and that's because usually you are in the eyes of the player character. So you are at their like eye level, and it kind of like helps you
Such a nice suit.
It kind of helps you be immersed into the story a little bit more. And also, it makes it easier for the character sprites to look normal. Because if you're like looking up and the angle is up, but then the character is like this, that's a little silly. And then for your character sprites, you want to have like a list of common emotions that you can like draw a few times and then just like reuse them over and over. Okay, so yeah, this is what I was talking about. But it's really important that you know how the player is like viewing this world. Are they in a third-person perspective, or are they viewing it from the eyes of the player? So for example, in Ace Attorney, you see like the main player character that you play as, Phoenix Wright, like you see him in the background, like you are in third person at that point. But you also go through like the investigative areas in first person. So those are just a bunch of examples. And a lot of dating sims do like first person perspective mainly. Okay, so this is our example story. This is about Mickey and Among Us. And these stories that we write, like I think we're also gonna give you guys access to some of them. Like the Fanfiction Club comes together and we write them on Frantic Fanfic together. And what happens is that everyone submits a list of characters and then you get randomly assigned 5 and then you pick 2 to write a story about. And this happened to be one of them.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get 3 people to read this out. Does anyone want to volunteer? We have narrator, Mickey, and Among Us.
Oh.
Okay, who wants to be who? You 2 and someone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you want to
You
be?
narrate. Who do you want to be, Frank?
I'll be Among Us.
Alright, I'll make you.
Okay. Go
Can you
ahead.
guys read it from
Hold
the?
on.
I can read it.
It was a cold day on the scaled spaceship, and Mickey Mouse was scared, to say the least.
You can say Mickey.
Explain.
Mickey
Mickey Mouse.
questioned the Amogus imposter.
What are you?
Oh wait, where's that?
What are you?
Oh, that's
me.
Oh, it is you. Okay,
My
okay.
fault. They trailed off.
Okay.
Mickey turned to look at Amogus imposter.
Who are you?
Mickey screamed.
And how do you know my name?
Amogus imposter looked down sadly.
I'm Amogus imposter. And I'm the only one left on this ship.
Mickey raised a comically high brow.
Jeez, this Amogus guy seems pretty suspicious.
He thinks to himself.
Wait, I know what you're thinking. I promise I didn't do anything.
Amogus's detached hands start fiddling as Amogus walked to the map.
Normally there are other people with me here, but I woke up here all alone.
Amogus pushed up his glasses with one finger. They glowed an ominous glow.
Yikes! You're alone on this ship. What happened to everyone else?
Mickey Mouse exclaimed, his voice wavering with the hopelessness of a trapped man coming to terms with his doom. Mickey could not help but think he was trapped. Imposter turned slowly, silently. His detached hands firmly picked up a knife from the meeting room table as he took slow, deliberate steps towards the cowering mouse.
They did their tasks.
He sighed, a low drawl.
And now, you're going to meet them.
The bay doors slammed shut between the 2 short men. Mickey gasped as the oxygen was sucked out of the room.
Wait!
He screamed, but the sound did not travel. Even Mickey's surprise couldn't permeate the vacuum of space.
Okay, yay! Thank you. Okay, so as we heard, the main story features Mickey, who mysteriously finds himself on the cell with Among Us imposter. So the original story ends with Mickey being launched out of the airlock by Among Us imposter. And the current storyboard looks like this. Okay, so we just have 2 points. Okay, so
Put it out.
what I wanted to do is that I wanted to make like a diverging story path here. So I like read through it, and then I picked that point to like be a like maybe Mickey could have done something different. So my thought was that maybe when Mickey was like, he seems pretty suspicious, Among Us was actually able to pick up on his suspicion, and he was like, damn, you know, he's already suspicious of me, might as well like kill him now, you know? Yeah, but like, what if Mickey's kind? What if his kind-hearted nature was actually able to break through despite of this like really suspicious environment? So instead,
Sorry. Oops.
So instead of like, wow, this guy seems pretty suspicious, it's wow, this guy seems pretty innocent.
Man, I'm thinking that all the
Okay,
time.
so I wrote this
Yeah.
separate scene, and I need you guys to read it again.
Got it.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Mickey couldn't help but feel his heartstrings tug at the small Amogus imposter. Poor small and lonely Amogus imposter. Mickey felt compelled to give Amogus imposter a firm pat on the head.
Hey, don't you worry. I'm sure you and I will find a way out of here together.
He offers a warm smile.
And when we make it back to Earth, you are more than welcome to join me and my buds at my clubhouse.
Something flashes behind Amogus's visor, and if it wasn't for the harsh glare of the lights, Mickey would have been able to see Amogus's eyes soften and his hand hesitate behind his back.
Yeah, you're right.
Amogus quickly sidesteps the head pat and turns towards one of the 3 hallways in the lunchroom.
I've done a little exploring, and I think the navigation room is that way.
His floating hands points down a long hallway.
Huh? Lead the way, pal.
The voice acting, that was really great. Okay, so we have a branching point now. Okay, so we have scene 1, and then we have scene 2A, and then scene 2B. So now we're on to like the writing, drawing the storyboard, and drawing the character sprites. So what I did was take notes on like each scene and how I separated the story.
Okay.
So for scene 1, we have scaled background art, worried Mickey sprite, thinking Mickey sprite, nervous Among Us, sad Among Us. And then in 2A, we have evil Among Us with a knife, because that's the one where he dies, right? And then we have scared Mickey, and then special scene, Mickey is thrown out of the airlock. And then in scene 2B, we have kind Among Us, we have happy Mickey, and we have special scene walking to navigation. Oh yeah, and then I said to like make notes on each scene, but like that's what this was. Like, oh wait, my bad. So this was the original script, and then I added in where like each sprite would be-ish based on like what I was thinking about. So like, oh, in the first one, Mickey was scared. How did I get here? That's Mickey worried. And then next we have like Among Us nervous. What are you? Who are you? Like that's Among Us nervous. And like as you go down, the sprites try to like match the characters' like emotions in the story. Okay, so I drew all of these yesterday. So we have the sketches, make your sketches, guys, and then that's like the background scaled art. Nervous Mickey, thinking Mickey, sad Among Us, and then nervous Among Us, and then also make sure I didn't do this at first because this background art was originally like darker, more saturated. But then I realized if you put Mickey on, these colors are too similar, and then he like kind of fades into the back. So I had to lower the opacity, and that's why it like looks a little better now. Okay, so then this is scene 2, sketches, art. And then I I had some fun in the last one, as you can tell. Okay, so now let's put this in Renpy. Yay!
Okay, so thank you, Elizabeth, for the presentation. If you don't know me, I'm Thomas. I'm from the Game Dev Club. So I guess the structure of this, how this is going to go, we're going to show you how to put this into Renpy. You're free to follow along with the Mickey and Amogus story. That's what we're going to be showing on the screen. But we also encourage you to make your own story. It's kind of like the way this is going to go, I'm going to show you how to do one part of it. Then we're going to give you guys some time to work on your own thing. Maybe write some dialogue, draw some sprites. And then I'm going to introduce a new tool and a new piece of code. So anyway, the first thing we have to do is hang up on the call that's calling me. Anyway, go to renpy.org, and this will take you to the homepage of Renpy. If you don't know what Renpy is, it's a game engine, specifically a visual novel engine, and it's used to make visual novel games pretty easily. The main code is in Python, but it has its own special language, and it should be pretty easy to get you guys started with. So just download it by clicking download Renpy over here. and click whichever button is green. It depends on your operating system. And I think we can give you, it's a whole process. It's different between the operating systems. Actually, also something I forgot to mention, at any time during this workshop, feel free to raise your hand, interrupt me, ask a question. If you want, you can also raise your hand and don't look at me, look at Aiden over here or other Aiden over here. These are GDC execs. They can come around and help you personally. But yeah, let's all take like 2 minutes right now, try to get the Renpy SDK downloaded and extracted. Can you download it? I don't know how to do it on Mac.
So if anyone's on Mac, I'm going to show it quickly, which I think only one person is, which is Aiden. But it's similar, I guess, each way. But basically, if I go here, on Mac there's a DMG. On Windows, I think it's like a zip file. And you basically want to extract it. Now on Mac, you just double click and then you can move it wherever. And so for me, I'm just moving to this documents folder. And then pretty simple on Mac. After it's done, you just double click this Renpy application, if you guys see that. And it will open up. Now I already have Renpy as well, so it's just pointing to the same thing, but I'm gonna delete this now. I would also recommend making like a folder for stuff, but I mean, that's up to you.
Okay, is everyone all good so far? I see a few thumbs up. Okay, so when you open up Renpy, you're gonna be taken to a screen that looks like this. This is the Renpy launcher. On the left, you're gonna see a list of all the projects you have. I think preloaded it comes with the question, which is like a tutorial project. And if you have one selected, like I have over here, Thomas tutorial, you can see a bunch of options and things you can do with the project. So first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna click create new project. I'm gonna call this
You have to continue.
Oh yeah, thank you. Mickey X Amogus spaceship. Continue. Once you get to this screen, this will talk about the resolution of your final game, like the size of the window. The default option of 1920 by 1080 is perfectly fine. Just hit continue again. When you get to here, you can choose the color of all the menu screens. All of this is customizable later, so feel free to choose whichever one you want. I'm gonna go with black and white. And once you're done all that, it's gonna say create a new project, and it'll take you back to the main screen. Now, once you have your project created, if we actually go to launch project, it'll launch it. Like, it'll open up the window and you can play your example game. Right now there's kind of nothing. If you click start on the visual novel, it creates a default character Eileen and tells you you create a new Renpy game. And there's 2 pieces of dialogue and then the game's done. So it boots you back to the menu. So let's keep this open, but let's also go to Renpy, back to the launcher. And now we want to edit the actual contents of the project and, add new stuff to it. So to do that, actually, well, first of all, I'm going to show you in the directory. If you click on game over here, it'll open in your file explorer the game directory. And this basically has all the files and folders belonging to your project that you need to make stuff in. What you're gonna want to do now is click all script files. And once you click on this, it'll take you to this screen, select editor. So all the dialogue is stored in code files, and we need a code editor to actually edit them. I recommend you choose the first one over there, Visual Studio Code. If you're a programmer, you might already have VS Code, so if you do that, feel free to choose VS Code System. But If not, just choose the first option, Visual Studio Code, and it will download it and install it automatically for you, which is pretty nice. So, everyone good so far with this? Yep.
Can you go back a couple steps? How do I get to the code? I've created the project.
are we just
How do I
go
get
there?
to the code?
To get to the code, there's on the right there should be a all, I forget what it's called, all code files. I'll show you once this is done. All script files. Just click that. Yep.
In VS Code, I'm getting like a bajillion errors because I don't think it recognizes the language. How do I?
Are you using your own VS
I think I'm
Code?
using my own.
No, you do it through Renpy.
Make sure you can also do it through Renpy. Make sure to install the Renpy extension.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Oh,
And that should just work.
that's good.
I think it will. So basically just open
Is everyone all good? Like we all have VS Code installed and Renpy. We've created our project. Hello. Okay. So once you have VS Code installed and you click on that option, it turned into open projects, but it's the button over here.
It said all script files.
All script files, yeah. It'll open up this application, which is Visual Studio Code. It's a text editor for code files. It might open up all these different files here, but what I want you to do is click on this button in the top left, the Explorer. It looks like a stack of pages, and it'll open up this no folder opened thing. From here, click Open Folder, and we're gonna open the game folder. If you remember the game folder that I showed right here, just navigate to wherever it is on your computer, and once you have it selected, click Open. Remember, this has all the stuff relating to your project, so we're gonna want a view of that, and it's gonna say this, but just click Trust and Yes, I trust. Once you do that, in the Explorer, you're gonna have a list of all the files and directories in your project. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff here. It can get a little bit overwhelming, but the only thing we need to care about right now is script.rpy. RPY files are Renpy files. They control the behavior of your game. And then also, we should care about the images folder, which right now is empty, and the audio folder. If we look in the other folders, it contains a bunch more files that relate to, the functioning of Renpy, like, saving and menus. But for right now, just open script.rpy and we can take a look at how the game actually works. So this is the sample game that we saw before. It's only 34 lines of code. Can everyone see in the back too? Okay. And it works a little bit similarly to Python. Renpy scripts, they're read from top to bottom, line by line. Lines that start with a hashtag, they become green. These are called comments, so they don't affect your code at all. You can just leave them there as little notes for yourself. And you can see the first thing it does, it defines a character called Eileen. It starts the game with label start. It shows a background, it shows Eileen's happy sprite, and it does some dialogue. And then it ends the game. I guess what we can do right now is I'm gonna Control-A, delete everything, and we'll go from scratch just so you guys can see what everything does. And the first piece of code that we're gonna write, it's gonna be the word label, space, and start. And then after that, a colon. So this is the label command, and it just specifies a section of dialogue. But when the dialogue is called start, this is where your game starts. And actually, I should have asked this before, but how many people have programmed in general before, like coding? Okay.
A bit.
A bit. That's okay. No. With programming, there's something called indentation. If you go after the colon and you press enter, you can see that wherever this part, there's like 4 spaces afterwards. This is called indentation. It's pretty important in coding. We can't continue our dialogue like over here, you know? But luckily VS Code will automatically indent stuff for you. So let's write a piece of dialogue. The easiest way to write dialogue is just a pair of quotes, and then you can write anything here. Hello, my name is dialogue. Remember to put the return command at the end. This lets Renpy know that like we're done with our game. Hit Control S to save, or there must be, I think there's a save thing up here too.
Yeah.
You can see that the circle icon on script.rpy turns into an X. And then if we go back to the game, you can see that we have Renpy over here with like the Renpy logo. This is the launcher, but if you hit launch project earlier, then you'll have this sort of dark shadowy thing, and this is the actual window. If we go to start, you can see it still has the old stuff. We need to reload the project once we've made any code changes. To do that, press Shift R. It'll say reloading script, and there we have our script. Hello, my name is dialogue. Are we all good so far? Okay.
Oh, you. Yeah, me too.
Hello. Okay. So yeah, like I said before, Renpy works from top to bottom. So if you want to add more lines of dialogue, it's just a matter of going top to bottom and adding more lines. I've added 1, 2, 3. If we go back to the project, Shift R to reload. Oh. Or sometimes you don't need to. It's a bit weird. You can see 1, 2, 3, and then we're done the game.
And the twist at the end.
I know, right? Okay, so you might have noticed that when we wrote these dialogues, there's no like names or anything. It's just, I guess, third-person narration. If you want to add a name, we have to have another piece of quotes before your piece of dialogue. So I'm going to say me. Hello, my name is me. Save. And you can see that me is added as a name. Okay. So just as an example, let's do John McMaster. Hello, I am John McMaster. Me. Whoa, hey. John McMaster, give me $1 million in tuition. So yeah, this is our visual novel. We have the name before the pieces of dialogue, and we have them going from top to bottom. And you can see it plays out just like that. Hello, I'm John McMaster. Whoa, hey, give me $1 million in tuition. Now, it can get pretty tedious rewriting John McMaster all the time. So we're gonna do what it did before and define a character. To do that, go to the top above label. We're gonna write define, and then we're gonna write the name of our character variable. It should be something short, something not too hard to type. I'm gonna go back to the Mickey Amogus thing. I'm gonna do M for Mickey equals, and then we're gonna write character. Make sure character has a capital C. Once we write character, we're gonna do open closing brackets. And you can see that when we're inside the brackets, it might pop up something like this. It talks about character. Here, character is a Python function, and it talks about the arguments character takes. Things like name, kind, and a bunch of other stuff if you go here and scroll down, but it's a bit overwhelming. So the only thing we need to focus on is the name of the character. So inside the brackets, write name equals, I'm doing Mickey. 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 And now instead of these quotes at the start, we don't need to rewrite Mickey in quotes all the time. We can just do M. M, like the same thing as our variable name. It'll reference this character. If we go back to the game, it'll properly say Mickey, whatever we put as the name. A nice little thing that you can do is that character has a bunch of different arguments. Name is one of them. Another one of them is color. So we can change the color of the name that appears. For any of the non-programmers out there, in coding, we usually represent colors with like text and hexadecimal numbers. The easiest way to pick a color, where's the browser, is to just go to Google, search up color picker, and it'll show you a nice color picker over here. I'm gonna get whatever Mickey's color is, maybe like a nice light red for his pants. And then over here where it says hex, this is called a hex code. This is the letter representation of your color. So you can just copy that and go back to VS Code. And where you have color equals, you just put that in. But again, this is like kind of optional. Name is the important part. If we go back to the project, and you can see that Mickey's name is now red. Any questions so far? So, I'm going to quickly add the other character, Amogus. Another define command, A equals character. Name equals Amogus. And now the color, let's go back to the color picker. This guy's like I guess like a deep red, you know, blood red or something. And now we can start writing our dialogue. If I look back to my reference, it starts, it was a cold day on the Skeld spaceship, and Mickey Mouse was ... scared to say the least. And remember again, if we want to write dialogue, we have to specify the character, then whatever they say. And we can do that with the dialogue variable we defined, M for Mickey. Oh. How did I get here? And then Among Us says, Mickey Mouse, what ... what are you ... Save, go back to our project. It was a cold day on the Skeld spaceship. We have Mickey, and we have Amogus. Now, this is kind of blank and boring. It's a black screen, no background, no characters. Let's try and get actual sprites in here. So, before we continue, is everyone good with like writing dialogue and defining characters? Okay. Let's go to VS Code.
Should I like give everyone access to the sprites and backgrounds if they want it?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay.
So,
Give me your emails. I don't know.
actually, can you post a link in like each of our Discords, or you can give it to me and then we'll post it in our Discord.
The link to the drive.
Or like a link to all the sprites.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Do it on your computer, just so.
Right. Oh yeah, I have it right here.
Okay, for everyone in Fanfic Club, I sent the sprites and the graphics in hashtag meeting plans. So if you want Among Us and Mickey, they're there.
We're also about to post it in GDC, so give me 1 second. For those of you guys in GDC who wants the Mickey sprites, I've just put them in the general chat. So there'll be all the sprites and the scripts. But
You want me to move the folder? Or you want
no,
to
I think it's good. We'll give you guys like 30 seconds to download the sprites that you want. Then we're going to show you how to actually add them. Where did we put them again?
I put them in the downloads folder. So,
Okay.
or no, I put them in the Renpy folder. So if you go to the bottom left finder, and then go to documents, and then go to Renpy. They're all right there.
There we go.
And then to move all them,
And
I would just open another finder window.
or caps lock. You just open up another Finder window.
I think
Oh,
there
it's
is
right
one.
here, dude. Game. We can put them in images. To A. Am I stupid? Oh, here, images. And then if we go to this guy. Okay, now in VS Code we have all of our images and we put them in the images folder, but you can kind of see it's already getting a bit like cluttered up. We have a bunch of different sprites and backgrounds. So we're gonna do a little bit of organization. Let's right click on images, click new folder, and we're gonna make a folder CHS for characters, and a new folder BGS for backgrounds. I'm gonna move all the character sprites into characters, and all the backgrounds into backgrounds. Now we need to tell Renpy how to access these image files. To do that, we can use another script. So inside the characters folder, we're gonna right click, click new file, and then we can call this character images.rpy. It doesn't particularly matter where you put this script file or what you call it, but I like to put it like this just for organizational purposes. Inside the script folder, we're going to define where all the images can be found and what they're called. So once you have this file, the format to define an image is, I'm going to write it in a comment first. It's the image command, and then a word for the tag of the image, and then a word for the attribute. What tag means is just like the character or the scene, and then the attribute is maybe like a more specific thing, like an emotion, like happy or sad. So first I'm gonna do image Mickey as our character tag, and then what sprites do we have? We have happy, scared, thinking, and worried. So let's start with happy. Once we have that down, we're gonna do equals, and then in quotes, we have to do the file path to where that image is. So, I mean, it starts from game, so you can write, like, you can go down the list by doing, like, images / CHS / Mickey happy.png, but that can get a bit annoying, so I'll show you for this next image. Mickey's scared. There's a nice little trick you can do. If you just have the image on the left and you drag it in and you hold shift while dragging it in, it'll just paste the path over there. Make sure when you write these paths that they have the quotes, and also that there's no game at the start like this. Because the way Renpy works, it looks at all of your script files and all your image files starting from inside the game folder. So we want to go straight to images. I'm going to quickly do the rest over here. Image Mickey thinking, image Mickey worried. then image amogus evil, image amogus kind, image amogus nervous, image amogus sad. And again, just like before, you can drag it in while holding shift. And it becomes pretty nice and fast. Then we need thinking. So once you have something like this, then your images are ready to be used in your game. Let's go back to script.rpy, and then looking at our script, the first sprite we want to show is Mickey looking worried, as in the Mickey worried sprite. It's a very simple command for that. It's just straight up show, and then whatever image you defined with the tag and the attribute. So Mickey worried. If we do that, and go back, we have our Mickey. So he kind of blends into the background there. Can't really see his ears. So we have to do a similar thing for the backgrounds too. Let's go to Visual Studio Code. In the backgrounds folder, we're going to do a similar thing, bg_images.rpy. And then I'm going to do image scene 1. And I guess for this, we don't really need any attributes. We can just call it scene 1. Image scene 2A, image scene 2B. Once you have that, the command for showing background images is a bit different than sprites, but it's just scene. You write scene and then the tag of your background image, and hopefully it shows our background image. Images, they stay for every piece of dialogue. So if you want to introduce new images, you might have to hide some, show some new ones. So let's say we want to hide Mickey as soon as Amogus starts talking. That command is the hide command. And for this, we don't even have to specify Mickey worried. We can just say hide Mickey. Because remember, this is like a specific attribute of the Mickey sprite. So if we want to just hide Mickey in general, we can just hide Mickey. And for this, it's show Amogus nervous. Mickey, what are you? Oh. How did I get here? It hides Mickey and it shows Amogus. So let's see what else. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
I know in a lot of scenes with like two character dialogue, there's like one character on the left and one on the right. How can you like position the characters to do that?
You can do that with it's called transformations. So to do that, you add a colon after whatever show command you're doing. And then there's a bunch of I have to go down and indent. And there's a bunch of different transformation commands that you can do. I think off the top of my head, to have one on the left and one on the right, it's called X align. And then you put in a number representing how far along the screen you want your sprite to be. It goes from 0 to 1 from left to right. So if we want Mickey on the left, we need like a small number, like 0.2. So let's do X align 0.2. And then I guess if we have on the right, we don't need hide Mickey. But for Amogus, we can do X align 0.8. Yeah.
Also do like built-in, just show character add left, add right.
I didn't know that actually, but you can see Mickey on the left, Amogus on the right, and then let's also try, was it at?
Worried add left.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So there's plenty of different ways to do it. I think this is probably an easier way. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And it puts Amogus down, which is nice. So at left and at right. Okay.
how to do the images stuff?
Sure, yeah. So once you've made your file, like ch_images.rpy, you have to use the image command, like image tag attribute equals path to the file. So right here, we're defining the Mickey tag, and we're giving it a specific attribute happy. And tag just represents like a character or an object, and the attributes are maybe specific sprites belonging to that character. So for here, we've done image Mickey happy, and then we've specified the path to the Mickey file. Yep.
Have you actually like put in the images from the computer under the CHS file? Because it's like under downloads for me, and the path is like way too long to copy.
Oh, okay, so you're gonna want to go to your file explorer. It's different on Windows and Mac, but wherever you downloaded, yeah, I think you can. He'll come help you, but for anyone in general who's struggling with this, go to where you downloaded Renpy and where the game folder is. Try and find that game folder, and then underneath game folder, in the images folder, drag in all those images you downloaded into images. Okay. Now,
Oh yeah. Gotta have this one.
okay, yeah, so, yeah,
Oh, can I see your script for the background image?
sure. We're gonna give you guys like 15-20 minutes. Try and create an opening scene for your visual novel. Maybe make a character or two, add in a sprite, add in a background. If you need any help, feel free to raise your hand. We can come around and help you. And yeah, just try to write some dialogue, and we'll be back in 15 minutes. Okay, we're gonna move on to branching now. If you have any more questions right now, feel free to raise your hand, and we can come around, help you with any remaining stuff. But yeah, I filled out a little bit more of the Among Us story, and we've gotten to the point where we've come to our branching choice. Yep. Okay. So I'm gonna write Mickey cheese. This Among Us guy seems pretty. Okay. Okay. Waterfall. Yeah. Don't worry, guys. You'll get another opportunity to work on your own stuff. I'm just gonna show how to do the branching stuff pretty quick. So we've gotten to the point in our fanfic where we have a branching option. The two options are Mickey thinking, "Wow, this Among Us guy is pretty suspicious," versus pretty innocent. Now, the way we specify a branching option is with the menu command. So let's write menu, then colon. Underneath the colon, it's going to automatically indent. And so for every line under menu, it's going to be a dialog option that represents something you can choose. So our two options were suspicious. For now, we're going to put another colon, and then also innocent. Now, the lines under suspicious and innocent, those are going to be run when the player chooses those. So if I do test A, test B, save. Okay. Jesus, Among Us guy seems pretty. It's going to show the two options, suspicious and innocent. And once we select one, suspicious, it's going to run whatever's underneath there. And you can also click back right at the bottom here. It goes back one step in your visual novel. And let's try out the different option. You can see it does test B over here now. Now our two branching paths, they're pretty big. Like, it feels pretty cramped to shove all the rest of our dialogue underneath there. What we're gonna do is add a label. So much like we did at the start with label start, what labels are they section off parts of your dialogue, and this goes really well with the scene format from the storyboarding. So right below here, all the way at the bottom, and all the way to the left, so no indentation, we're gonna write label scene or 2A. Then we can also write label scene 2B. And once we have those, let's put some test dialogue for now. Test A, or I'm in scene 2A. I'm in scene 2B. The way we actually jump to a label is with a jump command. So in this case, we can write jump and then scene 2A. And for under innocent, we do jump scene 2B. So when we click the suspicious option, the Renpy code is going to jump right to the start of label 2A and then start to run whatever's below that. And let's say we choose innocent, it's going to jump to the start of scene 2B and run whatever's below that. Now remember that Renpy, it runs from top to bottom. And if you remember this return thing, it exits out of your game and it finishes that label. So usually, because it runs top to bottom, it kind of doesn't care about labels. They're only used for jumping. So if we go from scene 2A, we might end up in scene 2B. So just to be safe, let's add return after all of these as well, I think. If we test it out, choose suspicious, I'm in scene 2A. We choose innocent, I'm in scene 2B. Now, 1 second. Is everyone good with that so far?
It's so emotional. I'm happy you said that.
Give me 1 second. Okay. So,
This is like scene 2B or not 2B.
under scene 2A is all the dialogue for the, I guess, Mickey betrayal route, the one where he dies. I'll write all that out later. It's in the Google Doc in the link that we posted, but I'll put a ... for now. But remember, this is the route where Mickey dies and gets ejected out of the airlock. And if you look in the background images we have, scene 2A, we have an image for that of Mickey dying. To actually change the background, it's much like the scene command like before over here. Remember that if we have a scene defined over here, then we can change scenes with the scene command. So let's do scene 2A, whatever we called it over here. And how does it go? He screamed. I'll fill this part in a little bit later so you guys can follow along. And then bad ending. If we go back to our game, click suspicious, ... and then it's going to change the scene once we do the scene command. And we're ejected out of the airlock. Notice how all of our sprites disappeared once we changed the scene. This is like intended to happen. Anytime you change the scene with the scene command, it's gonna hide all the sprites you showed, so you might have to re-show them. And then it'll say bad ending and boot you back to the start. Now, for scene 2B, I'm going to take a little bit of creative liberty from the script because I want to introduce the concept of variables. Like before, we had character variables, but you can also have changeable variables, like for memories and things that you want to keep track of during the game. So this is the route where Mickey and Amogus become friends, and am happy. Hey, don't worry, pal, dot dot dot. And then Amogus kind. Yeah, you are right. Dot dot dot. What I did just here is that instead of writing show Mickey happy, if we have an attribute that belongs to a character, we can just put happy afterwards here. But the thing is, we have this tag Mickey. We need to correlate it with the Mickey character. So this little trick is only possible if you go to the start, do image equals, and then the tag that you specified for that character. In this case, it's Mickey. Do a similar thing for Amogus. This part is a little bit optional, but it saves a lot of time. If you don't want to do that, then you can just like do it like before, where we have show Amogus kind. Actually, I think I'll stick with this part just to keep it a little bit more clear. Oh, end of line expected. Oh yeah, so this is what an error looks like in Renpy. I don't think we encountered this before. Renpy, like any programming language, is pretty strict about the characters that you put in, as in like the letters and stuff. If there's any, this is called a syntax error. This just means there's something wrong with the letters that you put down. And if you just look very close and read, it says at line 55, it expected an end of line. If we look at line 55, we can see that we have this random dot dot dot. It expected nothing, like the end of the line. So just if you ever encounter a syntax error, just try to see what it's telling you did wrong. Innocent. Don't worry, pal. Yeah, you are right. That's pretty good. Anyway. So at this point, I think in the original script, Mickey invites Amogus to the clubhouse and says, don't worry, we're going to find a way out of here. You can come to my clubhouse and we'll be friends or something. But let's make it so that maybe Mickey doesn't actually want to invite him to the clubhouse. Maybe he's a little bit hesitant. So let's introduce some more player choice. Let's go menu. And for this one, I'm going to write invite to clubhouse. This is kind of a stylistic choice, like putting the action within brackets. You can kind of do whatever you want. And also, don't invite to clubhouse. And for this, I'm going to put Mickey, when we make it back to Earth, you are more than welcome to join me and my buds at the clubhouse. And then for this one, we can change the Mickey sprite. Show Mickey worried. Mickey makes a noise as if he were about to say something, but then swallows his words. Dramatic. Wow. So, and then show Mickey happy. Don't worry, we'll get out together. No invite to the clubhouse.
You gotta put the M there, right?
Oh, right, thank you, the M. No. So, I think after this, it just continues, we can continue as normal. It's, I guess, sort of a branching path that merges back together. And it's something like, something flashes behind Amogus's visor, dot, dot, dot. Amogus, actually, I think I got some things mixed up. I'll put this, copy. And then paste. If we reload the script, don't worry, pal. We can invite Amogus to the clubhouse. When we make it back to Earth, you're welcome to join me and my buds. And then it goes to the Amogus, yeah, you're right. But we can also do the other path. Don't invite to the clubhouse. And Mickey, I don't know, doesn't invite him. And it still goes like back to the normal path. So this is just like an example of how like even if you branch the paths, they're all gonna merge back to the beginning. Let's do what we were talking about before with the variable. Let's make it so that Amogus remembers this and maybe wants to kill Mickey because of that. So big drama. There's this concept in programming called variables. They're just values that you can store and access later. They can just represent things you want to keep track of. Like it can be a number, it can be a character like this, or it can be the fact that Amogus wasn't invited to the clubhouse. So there's many different types of variables. Like for example, one is a character. We use define to create a constant variable. This is a variable that can't be changed when we run your code. It's just something you look at, just for like, shorthand. To make a changeable variable, which we want it to be changeable because if we go down one path, we make it so that he's invited, go down another path, he's not invited. To create a changeable variable, we use the word default. And again, like the one above, we need a variable name. So let's call it invited to clubhouse. For variable names, they have to be like no spaces, which is why I'm using underscores here. And they have to start with a letter, can't start with a number. And like above, it's the same format where we have the name and then we set it equal to something. Now, this is something that's either true or false. Either Amogus was invited or wasn't invited. This type of value is called a Boolean. This is a thing in programming. I think it was invented by some guy called like George Boole or something. Yeah. It's basically a value that represents either true or false. So by default, Amogus hasn't been invited yet, so we're just going to make it false. There's many different types of variables you can do, like the integers, like 0, 1, 2, 3. You can do like decimals, which are called floats, like 3.14159. For now, we're just using the Boolean, and we're setting the default to be false. So when we invite Amogus to the clubhouse, we want to set invited to clubhouse to be true. To do that, first we have to put the $sign. This is a quirk of Renpy. It just means you're running a Python line of code. Then we put the name of the variable, invited to clubhouse. We use the equal sign and set it equal to true. So once we go under the invite to clubhouse branch, it's going to show the dialog, and then it's going to set our variable to true. Now, once we have it to true, we actually want to read it and use it somewhere. Let's say after Amogus experiences kindness, we want him to remember whether he's been invited or not. So, right. To do that, it's pretty simple. We do something called an if statement. So if, it'll go purple because it's a command. And then after if, we have to have an expression that evaluates to a Boolean. What that basically means is like whether the thing inside is true or false. So if we are invited to the clubhouse, colon, you can see it's going to indent again. And once we reach this line of code, if we are invited to the clubhouse, it's going to run whatever's underneath here. So let's do Among Us, I was invited. If we want to check for the opposite branch, if we weren't invited to the clubhouse, just underneath the if and at the same indent level, we write else. And then it's the same thing as before. If we weren't invited to the clubhouse, it's going to run whatever's under else. So A, I wasn't invited. If we save that, go back to our visual novel. Okay, let's do innocent. If we invite to the clubhouse, at this point of time, it's not going to show you on the screen, but internally it sets that invited to clubhouse variable to true. And when we get to the if statement after this line of dialogue, it's going to be like, I was invited. If we do the other way around, don't invite to clubhouse. Remember, in the don't invite to clubhouse, we didn't change the variable at all. By default, it's still false. And when it checks over here, we're going to go under the else branch. Yeah, you were right. I wasn't invited. So we can make this a little bit more interesting. Maybe let's say if Amogus wasn't invited to the clubhouse, I'm actually going to jump to scene 2A. So if Amogus wasn't invited to the clubhouse, he's just instantly going to kill Mickey again, you know? But if we are invited to the clubhouse, we can do some additional dialogue here. Is everyone good with like variables and the if statements? Yeah. Let's see. I'm actually going to make a new label right below here called ending. And if we're invited to the clubhouse, we're going to jump to an ending, or to this ending. And let's do, well, how does the script go? The script goes like we switch to scene 2B. Okay. Done a little exploring. I think navigation room is that way. Oh, lead the way, pal. So go back to our game. Innocent, invite to clubhouse. Yeah, you were right. It's gonna change the scene. We've jumped to our ending, and yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the basic part of the game. And that's how we do the branching control with the different scenes. Does anyone have any questions about how we did, you know, the menu and the labels and jumping and all of that? We're gonna give you guys another 15-20 minutes to expand on the opening scene that you've created, introduce some branching paths, some sections of dialogue. Again, like before, you can raise your hand and we'll come around, help you out with anything, and yeah, go crazy. So there's, I think, basic animation. You can make them fade in by going a line below, doing width, and putting dissolve. If you do with dissolve all the way at the start,
I have a scientific basis for this one.
or let me do it on
Actually, like,
with
I thought it's
dissolve.
only really bad if it's like
No.
everyone's. No? Okay.
Oh,
There is an increase on
He fades in.
Yeah, 'cause that's
Oh.
what happens to
But to animate moving left and right, I had that code. Just give me a sec.
Okay. Then yes.
There has to be like another bullshit name after. So.
And even then, if you're part of
You have to do. Well, I'm gonna make him spawn in the center and then move right.
Yes. Okay.
And for that, we have to put ease in and an amount of time, like in seconds. So after ease in, you put the command you want to like ease in. Or for this, it's x align 0.8. So it's gonna start in the middle, and then normally without the ease in, it just moves it like to 0.8. But the ease in makes it like transitions smoothly over 0.5 seconds. So if we go to here,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Moga slide, dude.
Wait, that's
The
actually
difference it
fire.
makes.
Yeah. I don't know how to make it lower. Hey,
Y align?
Y align 0.6.
Oh, I just realized that's what X was. I was always like,
Yeah, there we go.
Whoa.
And I think maybe we can have him start from the right by doing maybe a value over.
Oh.
Oh my
Oh.
god! Oh my.
And then
That's
we can,
actually so
actually we need to
fire.
flip him by doing X zoom.
Oh, and you're gonna scale him. Oh.
Crazy.
Forbidden.
But yeah,
Looks more fancy.
Now we just
It really
need
does
the-
look more fancy.
the sound effect, like the.
Okay, wait, let's see what this looks like.
there's also Pixelate, which looked funky.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen that effect before. A lot of red pie people like.
I guess like in the story, if you
I
get
like-
like stabbed, maybe a pixelate.
Yeah, you know what? I think that'd be good. Yeah.
Pixelate every count in mind.
Uh-oh. Wait, did you say like...
Make it more pixel.
Okay, guys. Hello. We're coming up near the end of the workshop, so we have kind of a, I guess, finished visual novel. I'm gonna quickly show you how to export your visual novel, so it's like an actual application you can share around with your friends and maybe on a game distribution website. In the Renpy launcher, make sure you have your project selected. First thing you're going to want to click is check script, lint in brackets. It'll create a document in your VS Code called lint.txt, and it basically scans through all of your script files, making sure if there's any potential errors that players could like encounter when they play your game. I don't think this has any errors. It just says stats about the game itself, but if there's an error, I think it would say something like, oh, could not find this image, you know? But anyway, after you do that, you're gonna wanna click Build Distributions, and it'll take you to this page where you can select what you want to build your project for. And building just means like the process of packing it into an executable. I'm gonna select just Macintosh since this is on a Mac. You can select pretty much anything and then click build. Yeah, and then it's gonna do a pretty long process. Wow, your computer's fast. Oh my god. And then it'll give you a zip file that you can share around with people. And when you unzip this, it has the, how do you unzip on
Just
Mac?
double click it.
Okay. When you unzip it, it'll give you that application, Mickey X Amogus Spaceship, and there's a completed visual novel. Mogus. Okay, so would anyone like to present the visual novel that they've made in the workshop?
Yeah, here.
Where's
I'm
yours?
still building mine.
Explain the
Oh no.
Okay.
Ooh.
This is
Whoa.
wow, romantic study session.
More like a program to show off.
No.
Can we get some voices for this one?
No, it's literally,
No?
it's literally gonna be
There's one character.
One character.
Yeah.
Okay, I can do the
Is
voices.
there
Okay.
audio or no? Is there audio or no?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Change the name of her
Whoa.
Can you help me count to one? One. Okay, now can you help me count to two? One, two.
Whoa.
Okay, now can you help me count to three? One. Click skip. Click skip. It will just go.
Okay.
It'll just go.
This is pretty good.
If only that was
It is a vibe.
Actually, yeah.
No wonder it was like, I don't trust this.
You're missing out on all the plot.
Where's the romance? Okay, another thing.
I mean, this
What's
is pretty
not
romantic.
Counting.
What's
I'm
not
sorry, I'm
romantic?
sorry.
This is pretty. Look at the hearts there.
You don't know anything.
Oh, this is a no
I don't.
context meme from
I
our
feel like
friend
we
group.
gotta give like a epilepsy warning for the flashing image.
Porygon
Who is
that
this
shit.
character?
Oh.
What's the high score?
I only.
61.
I'm gonna save the progress. Oh, yeah, I forgot to mention the nice thing about Renpy is that it has like saving and loading built in. So
So
Looks
awesome.
like the Doki Doki.
it's the same one. Yeah.
Doki Doki was built in Renpy,
Yeah.
which is actually part of like why it was impressive because it did a lot of like crazy effects.
Oh, yeah,
Did we
that's
stop the
what
record?
I
Should I
thought.
click stop?
I mean, if we're showcasing, we can-
Actually, yeah, it's alright. Does anyone else want to share theirs? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to bring your laptop or?
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is
Yeah,
getting
Thank you for cookies.
Okay.
Thank
well,
you.
I'm gonna stop recording.
Yeah, nice one.